What would you guess his height and weight were?
He probably weighed 190 pounds, 190, yeah, 195.
Is that typical for a Marine SEAL?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. They don't want him too tall.
Well, he wasn't too tall. He was, he might have been as much as 6 feet.
Did he have any unusual tics or behavior or mannerisms?
No, he didn't. He was calm and collected all the time. He never got excited. He didn't seem to be worried. He didn't fidget or anything like that. He didn't volunteer any information about anything. He was concerned about his health. He thought he was near death, and he was worried about his $300,000 stash going back to the government, because he knew that those bonuses are paid in such a way that if he doesn't succeed or something, they can collect it back. So they can always take back what he's been paid. And another reason is because it's always paid out of country in a foreign bank, which is illegal. And it's illegal for Americans to hold it if they don't declare it and pay the taxes on it. It was paid in there in such a way that he wouldn't be a good idea for him to declare it. He wasn't supposed to. Nobody was supposed to know he was drawing 2 salaries, one as a Marine and one as a Central Intelligence agent. And the Central Intelligence agent money was paid out of the country. So all that is subject to confiscation if the government gets wind of it. Of course, they have a record of it. All they have to do is move on it, call it, take it back.
Did you, while Commodore O'Ryan was here, begin to be concerned for your own safety and Jem Cox's own safety, your grandson, if O'Ryan had maybe a psychotic episode and turned on the two of you? Were you concerned?
We never worried about that, but we knew that he was a member of Team 6, Delta Team 6. And we knew that his own team would take him out if he was characterized as a traitor to him. And we knew that they knew that he had stashed the pictures, copies of the pictures. So they're not going to do anything to him or us until they get all of the pictures. They have to stop that first. And when he left, there was still one stash that they hadn't got to yet. So
and you weren't concerned that he was going to maybe do something to you?
No, we were never concerned about that, but we were afraid if they ever thought they had the last set of pictures, that they would do something to the house, maybe burn the house down with him in it or something like that.
From those threats from
his
the
own
letters.
team, yeah, the Delta 6 team. We saw him going by the house in a white rented carryall a number of times.
You mentioned at one time in one of your tapes his actual name. I'll say the first name, but I won't say the last name.
Okay.
Derek?
That was it.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you been able to confirm anywhere else in any of the UFO information that you've gathered whether or not anybody else who's talked about having been in S4 had known of this particular individual?
No, I don't know any other people that lived in S4. There were 4 co-conspirators with him that all disappeared shortly after he got here. So they were discovered and moved, at least, maybe terminated, I don't know. The girlfriend of one of them that used to visit them when they were on leave in downtown Las Vegas hadn't heard from her boyfriend in about the same time that Connor had been here. When he explained what the package of pictures was, I became a little worried too. He told me that he was a sentry, guard at level 2 of S4, and that he had become disenchanted with the security. What he called was the overplayed security, because all they had was junk. He said internally it's called a museum, and he said they had crashed saucers there. He said they had distant 7 bays on roll-around pedestals. I was watering the plants in front of my house, my little flower garden in front of my house, and I decided, and I was warming water for coffee also, and at some point I laid the hose down and went back in to turn the water down so it wouldn't boil over. And when I came out, just minutes later, I found a blue envelope, pale blue envelope, stuck behind the numbers in my house by the door. It wasn't there when I went in, just 2 or 3 minutes before that. And I left the hose running and took the envelope down and looked at it, looked inside. It was an envelope from the return address to the Imperial Palace in the upper left-hand corner on Imperial Palace Stationery. Well, this is the picture of the first message. When I was watering my lawn and I turned around to come back in the house, I saw this behind the sign, number sign, just like that. And there's the message. It says, "It's to come home." And the delta symbol is pointed up, meaning it's cool. Just come home. This is the original page. The original message, first one found behind the house numbers on my home in Windmill Circle. And that was the first note, letting us know that they were there. And when I read the note, I took it in and showed Jim Cox, and he said, "I don't know what to make of it." He said, "Let's ask Connor." When we showed him the letter, his face turned white and sweat popped out on his forehead. He said, "Oh my God, they're here already." He said, "I was hoping we'd get a day or two." The visitor now became concerned about how they were able to keep track of him. He thought he might have a tracking device installed someplace in his body because we had not observed followers. We didn't see anybody at the bus station. Everything looked clean. Nobody around the house until the message appeared behind the numbers on my door. And then an hour or so later, we saw a white van go around the house with 4 men in it that he recognized as Delta 6 members of his own team. He said he was afraid because he had seen a white rented car go by with 4 men in it. He said that's suspicious. And he told us that he was a member of Delta 6. He said those are probably Delta 6 men from my own team. They'll send my own team after me. He said he thought that he had already been compromised. And I said, well, if you think that and you got important information, maybe we should document it some way. He said, yes, we should. And so we said, well, let's go out in the desert. We'll find a high ground where we can see anybody coming from every direction. We'll videotape an interview with you. We did. We went out there and videotaped a 2-hour interview with him where he told us all of what he wanted to tell us on videotape. It was a surprise to suddenly hear from you a day ago and to hear what you could tell us with respect to some things that we've been doing for a long, long time.
Right now I'm basically kind of scared. I mean, I'm on the run. I don't know what everything holds for me. I just want to get this out in the open.
You said that they had 7 discs there. You're talking about disc-shaped flying vehicles or something.
Flying vehicles. All the vehicles are of extraterrestrial origin. They are not. When I first got there, it took me a good couple weeks before I could fully comprehend and realize this. I've always been an avid believer in life in the universe, that we're not the only ones, but this confirmed it for me in my own mind, and there are other people there that believe and feel that this should all be brought out too. But it has to be done slowly.
So we took a little camera like that. We went out there and set it up, and we videotaped the full 2 hours of him describing how he got to S4, how he was assigned. He said they took his